We have another multi-team trade, and it is another one where you look at, wow, the Miami Heat did pretty well, and wow, the Utah Jazz sure are doing things. Maybe not well, but they're doing things. Let's discuss a three-team trade that happened in the NBA today. The NBA's offseason rolls on with another huge trade. This one more huge in the fact that it involved multiple teams and not necessarily the star power, although it's certainly not the 7-team trade that got completed the other day. But the Miami Heat have acquired Norm Powell from the LA Clippers, who acquire John Collins from the Utah Jazz, who acquire Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson, along with a 2027 second. So, let's break this one down. Let's start on the Miami Heat side. I think that this is a very interesting, very good move here for Miami, as they are coming off of a bit of a turbulent season. So I think they needed a little bit more talent on this team, to be perfectly frank. And to go out and acquire Powell, coming off of a very good year with the LA Clippers, I think is a good move. I don't look at what they gave up off of their roster as something that is overly inhibiting to making this sort of a move. I think that they get a phenomenal deal out of this whole thing. And to bring in Powell, who just kind of fits, like when you talk about Heat culture and everything like that, I know it was mockingly and everything like that, but when you talk about the type of player that Eric Spoelstra and this ball club seem to get the most out of, Norm Powell kind of fits that mold perfectly, doesn't he? He just seems like he is a Heat culture type of a guy. And I think this gives them an interesting look now with Hero, Powell, Wiggins, Bam, Ware, Davion Mitchell, Jovic, Rozier. But still, you have quite a few pieces that I think are interesting. And we've talked about it here before. The East is not overly threatening. And so, we are talking about the Hawks being a potential title contender because they have 8 guys that you like. Well, I listed about 8, and 6 of them you feel pretty good about. I think that this is a very good addition. It's someone who is comfortable on both ends of the floor. He has been productive in three-point shooting. They lost a bit of that when they sent Duncan Robinson out the door. I didn't even include Fontenecchio in all of this as well. He is at least something. There is something there in Miami. Is this a team that gets you back to an Eastern Conference final? Probably not, but you at least have some high-level pieces on this team. And I think the one thing that they need right now is someone to just distribute the ball to all of these pieces that you have on this. Because Hero, for his offensive upsides or anything like that, I don't view him as that guy. I don't view him as the quarterback who is up there just getting everyone in the right spot. I would much prefer him being not just like park in the corner and shoot this 3, but I would rather someone be in charge of the basketball and just get him the ball in good spots instead of him creating for everyone. So I do think that there is another ad that needs to be made for this Heat team before you can really start to talk seriously about them. But I think this is a really, really good rebound in this Eastern Conference coming off of the Jimmy Butler mess that they had to deal with. I think that this is an interesting fit for the Los Angeles Clippers as well, with Collins going to that team. He's kind of been forgotten about in Utah. I think it gives them an extra forward option. If you want to bring him in off the bench, which probably, looking at the lineup, that's probably where he fits in with this team, which is a little bit expensive for a bench piece, but still, I think that he is an interesting option coming off of the bench. If you want him as an athletic 4, or if you want to go with a small ball 5, I think he can fit both of those depending on what the Clippers want to do. And we talked about this when they added Brook Lopez. It is a guy who can throw 5 fouls on Jokic if they need to out in LA too. So I think that there is some benefits to this. I don't like this roster as much as I like the other parts on Miami, especially when you get behind away from Kawhi and Zubats. The James Harden Game 7 was really, really concerning with how just horrendous that looked. And so I think that there is, this is a good move it's a good move for them, but I still think there's a lot of work that needs to be done to try to get this to a caliber of some of the other teams in the Western Conference. Speaking of other moves that need to be done, the Utah Jazz, like, okay, neat. They get the trade exception, I guess. They get a second round pick. That's fine. I do wonder if they can flip Slow-Mo, Kyle Anderson, or Kevin Love for anything. But I don't think it's been a great offseason for them. I think when you look at having Clarkson, Collins, and Garland on your team for a group that is probably trying to rebuild at least a little bit, to have those guys on your team and to now come away with that with nothing for Clarkson, this for Collins, and Nurkic for Sexton. I think I was saying Garland before, but for Sexton, this doesn't. It's very underwhelming, and for obviously Markkanen is probably the biggest trade chip that they have, but for them to have these assets and to not get anything else back for them is really, really puzzling from Utah. They may have got a home run in Ace Bailey in the draft, and they have a couple other younger pieces that you kind of like, but not to the point where you needed to clear guys out of the way just to open up spots for them and to just punt on potential assets coming in. We've had this talk before, right around the draft lottery when Dallas ended up winning it, wondering if the NBA got away from tanking. And so I can understand the Jazz, given how the lottery balls didn't go their way, maybe not wanting to just sell all these pieces off for 9 different draft picks or anything like that. But to just take a bit of a step back from what they had and just, we got a second round pick and a couple of other assets that maybe we can turn into more second round picks and maybe other lesser assets. Like it's taking steps down and down and down and down and down. And now all of a sudden you go from having a $5 bill to just a bunch of quarters in your pocket and that's probably $5 worth. And then you get to the till and it's $3.50. Like it's just weird metaphor. Doesn't really happen to anyone, but you understand what I'm saying. Like they have tried to piece a few things together with pieces that they actually should have got real legitimate things back for and just never did. So I think it has been, it's icky to talk about human beings in this way. I think it has been a real masterclass in bad asset management for the Utah Jazz. Things are always changing at Couch Potato Diary, so make sure you follow me on social media. I am at Primetime Klein on Instagram, X, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads, anywhere you are on social media. I'm there too. So follow me on social media for updates about Couch Potato Diary. One other move that happened in the NBA that I haven't really had a chance to touch on just yet, and that is the Washington Wizards acquiring Cam Whitmore from the Houston Rockets. I like this quite a bit for Washington. Whitmore is still just 21 years old. He's never really gotten a fair shake out in Houston. And so I this is the exact type of a player that the Washington Wizards should be going after. And to only give up a pair of second round picks for it, I think is a very smart move for this basketball team in what has been an offseason kind of full of them, as they are able to get out from Jordan Poole. They bring in an adult in the room to help out with everything, and they have made a couple of other pretty strong moves that brings Whitmore now into the fold. And now, we are getting to the point with the Jazz where it's like, there might not be as many opportunities for him even in Washington because they have this, that, and the other thing. I don't think we're at that point yet. I think they're still not great enough that you can try to piece a few of these together, but I think that was a great move for Washington to try that. It's a tough one for Houston, and I don't think that the Cam Whitmore trade is how the Houston offseason is going to be remembered, just putting that out there, but it felt like he was more of a trade piece than this, and it felt like if they wanted to go out and make one more big splash type of a move, he could be an enticing, and we'll give him right? And it just, clearly, the rest of the league didn't think that because he wasn't a fit in Houston. The rest of the league didn't feel like he was a fit in Houston. And no, Houston would want to unfit themselves from it. So to hope that you could throw him into a bigger deal felt like it was a bit of a fool's errand. So why not let's not deal with someone who's going to be unhappy on our roster. Let's get at least a couple of things for him and bring him in. But it's a tough one. And I think they were kind of hoping to be able to use him as a bit bigger of a trade piece. But again, they have big things happening in Houston right now. But another smart move from the Washington Wizards. If you're enjoying the stream and want to support Couch Potato Diary, there are a number of ways that you can do it. Again, a huge shout out to Deeds, who is a continued subscriber over on Twitch, even though it's not really cooperating with him at the moment, but also Toxic, who has been a long time follower and person in the chats in the Twitch streams. So obviously, subscribing on Twitch helps a lot. Following on Twitch is so appreciated. Even watching these streams at all, if you have just dedicated your eyeballs to to whatever I am doing, or your ears, that means the world to me. If you do want to help out financially, there is a tip link. It is in the description of the YouTube video, and it is also a panel on Kick and Twitch. That would be, it would mean the world to me, and help out with the pets as well. So yes, if you feel so inclined to want to support the streams, you can absolutely do that. We have the tip link going on right now.